So, looks like we got some unexpected news for God of War 4. You know, that thing we've all been waiting for like, years? Anyway, so, apparently some concept art was put online for God of War 4, and it looks like Kratos or someone else, because they haven't really confirmed if it is Kratos or not, is going to take on the Norse gods. Yeah, the Greek gods are pretty much all gone. I guess Aphrodite's still alive, he just fucked the shit out of her. So, yeah, I guess it looks like Kratos is going to take on the Norse gods, which I think is kind of cool. I mean, it seems like that would be the logical choice to go to the next gods, aside from Egyptian gods, which we may still see. But yeah, the Norse gods seem like the next logical step in terms of, like, pantheons for Kratos to smash. But here's the thing. Even though we saw, like, a guy holding an axe and painted, that doesn't necessarily mean that might be Kratos. I mean, it could be a totally new character. They haven't, as far as I know, because I've heard conflicting reports saying, yes, Kratos will be in the game, no, Kratos will not be in the game. I don't know which is true or not, so forgive me if I'm sounding confused here, but let's put hypothetical sense that this is Kratos. You know, let's put hypothetically that this is Kratos. But yeah, if this is Kratos, my question is, why are you now going, what did the Norse gods do to you? Are you just hunting all gods now? Because the thing of it is, the story might be, now that Kratos successfully destroyed the world thanks for wiping out the Greek pantheon, the Norse pantheon has kind of stepped in and been like, haha, now we're the ultimate religion now. Haha, awesome. So maybe Kratos is like, no, you're about to get an ass whooping. So that's how I kind of see. Now, I think it's really cool, because the Norse mythology, even though, you know, it's been getting kind of a resurgence thanks to the Thor movies, as well as, you know, the show Vikings, and, yeah, a few other things. But there's so much to the Norse mythology that I think you can really play with. Obviously, you can do Yggdrasil, the World Tree, you can have Jormungand, the World Serpent, Ymir, the Lord of the Frost Giants in general, Fafnir, the dragon. There's so much you can pull from Norse mythology that the possibilities are endless. Now, there's so many even gods, and you may be thinking, well, the Norse gods aren't really as big a dicks as the Greek gods were. True, they weren't exactly angels either. I mean, Thor, you know, the way I look at it is that the Norse gods were like the original Justice League of the world. Everything they did, everything they stood for was for the human race. However, if you go back and look at some of the things that Odin and Thor and Loki and a few other gods did to the mankind themselves, well, some of it ain't exactly all sunshine and rainbows. So, I'm wondering if they're going to dick up the gods a bit, the Norse gods, because even though they weren't assholes, they weren't exactly good people either. So that's my kind of thing with this new God of War, is that we have the new pantheon. I mean, I can only imagine what kind of, you know, how many gods you could have, because I doubt you could do all the gods in one game. You know, obviously Odin, Thor, Loki, and then you have Frigga, that you've got, you know, Hode, you have, you have Tyr, so many gods. So I think there may be more gods in Norse mythology than there is Greek sometimes. Yeah. And that's the other thing. There could be some really cool monsters you could really play with. I think there's, again, you could have the Frost Giants, you could have elves, and that's the other, like, that's the cool thing. I would love to see, like, Kratos traverse the 9 realms. I think that would be a lot of fun. Even encounter, like, go to to Hela's world and face, the goddess of death. Fight some Dragers. Those are Dragers. I know I'm probably pronouncing it. I'm not pronouncing it right, but Dragers are basically the dead. They're the dead who cannot enter Valhalla, and that's the other place. I would love to see Kratos enter Valhalla. That would be a lot of fun, because it's a place of the honored dead, and that's something Kratos kind of lost his privileges to. And also, I think, like, that would be fun. Could you imagine, like, Kratos just fighting, like, this legion of honored dead and Vikings, and just just this onslaught, because there's so many dead in the halls of Valhalla. Like, Kratos just takes out those blades, and he's just like, bring it. And you just, like, I can see a whole level of that where you just have to survive for a certain amount of time of fighting all these different Viking warriors. Among other things, you even have Loki's children, who are some of the worst monsters ever. Again, you have Fenrir, Fenrir, the wolf who took off Tyr, the Greek god, the Norse god of war's hand. That's the other thing. I would love to see, Kratos encounter Tyr, the Norse god of war. I would love to see his reaction to, oh, you slew Ares, did you? Well, Ares is a bitch. I'm the real god of war. And Kratos would be like, oh, we'll see about that. Anyway, what else did I want to say about this? But going back to that, Fenrir is this giant wolf who, for those who don't know the true legend of Fenrir, whose mouth could, if this wolf was so big, when he opened his mouth, his bottom jaw would scrape the earth and his nose would touch the moon. Could you imagine fighting like Fenrir if they go with if they go with Fenrius or Fenrir? It always kind of differs in pronunciations. But could you imagine fighting him at his full size if they go with the true legend? And also, Jormungand, the world snake. God, it's an opponent that Thor was never able to beat. So, could you imagine, just imagine, you as Kratos doing battle with, the world snake, a being who is... That's the thing with Norse monsters. With Norse monsters, they're so goddamn ridiculously big. Like, in Norse mythology, Thor once traveled into what he thought was a cottage, but it turned out to be Ymir's glove. Just get a sense of that. So yeah, that's the other thing. Ymir, if they use the full size of Ymir, you're gonna have to be. It's gonna be like fighting the final Colossus in Shadow of the Colossus. That is some Shadow of the Colossi BS right there. It'd probably be a lot like the boss fight when you fought Kronos in God of War 3. Or was it 2? I forget. But yeah, the gods would be... the Norse gods would be a lot of fun. I would imagine Loki's boss fight would be a lot of illusions. Thor would probably be one of the last gods you fight. Probably the second to last god you do battle with before Odin. And that fight would probably be goddamn ridiculous, and same with Odin. Anyway... again, there's so many things you could do. Like, again, Heimdall. Could you imagine Kratos just wrecking the Rainbow Bridge, or just traveling through Asgard and destroying everything in his path? That's the big thing. I want to know, how does Kratos, the ghost of Sparta, if this is Kratos, because they haven't really... For all we know, it could be a completely new character, because, you could easily say that Kratos' story is done. You could honestly say... Yeah, Kratos did what he wanted to do. He destroyed the Greek gods, and now he brought down, his vengeance solved nothing. He did more damage than good. So, you could argue he did that, and his story is kind of complete, and this new character is like a berserker or a Viking who was wronged, and he's inspired by the tales of Kratos to take his revenge on the gods. Maybe something like that. Because again, even though, it looks like Kratos, but something about him holding that axe, it looks very Norse. But maybe Kratos just, has traveled to has traveled far north, and now he's become like the ghost of the Viking spirit or something, I don't know. So again, this is all hypothetically speaking, that if this is Kratos once again. Because again, this isn't the first time we've had games where we get a new character. You remember in Devil May Cry 4, in Devil May Cry, where we got the other new character, Nero? Remember that? Yep. Anyway, so what else did I want to say about this? Crap, I lost my train of thought. My apologies. But yeah, with this with this new game, I'm looking forward to it, because again, there's so many monsters, so many gods you can play against. The possibilities are damn near endless. And remember, Asgard is the home of the 9 realms. So, well, the world of Norse mythology has 9 realms, and these games would be so massive and large. I could see, Kratos traversing the 9 realms and fighting his way through, all these different worlds and fighting all these creatures. Even from ancient stories like the dragon Fafnir, some Norse heroes like Sigurd, who slew Fafnir. So maybe you could have a match against Sigurd or Ragnar, I know he's kind of a historical figure. He's kind of like the King Arthur of Vikings, but there's enough historical stuff behind him to say that he may have existed. So yeah, you could have Ragnar Lothbrok in here. So stuff like that. Anyway, so you guys tell me, what do you guys think of the idea of a God of War 4 involving the Norse gods? Do you guys like the idea? Do you guys hate the idea? And what do you think it is Kratos? Do you think they should use Kratos, or do you think they should have a new character who was inspired by the tales of Kratos and his quest for revenge? And what monsters and gods and heroes of Norse mythology do you want to see and fight in this new game? But yeah, once again, hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you guys later.